Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Now, I know what you guys are saying. 1 week you're 11, the next week you're 12. We're back to 12 p.m. I'm sorry for any confusion it might have caused, but we are back at our OG start time. So go ahead and mark your calendars, tell your friends, set a reminder. We are back at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
For now.
Until Brady changes his mind again. So just
we're trying to find a perfect time, right? You got to test things out. 11 o'clock, is it better? Who are you? Whatever. So we're testing, just like our backdrop. Our backdrop for the past month and a half has been black. Now it's white. This looks good. How do you guys feel about the backdrop?
I like it. I made an appearance, so I'm feeling the appearance.
What are you wearing?
I have no idea. I was just gonna throw out.
You got a Bucks hat on.
I mean, it went with the shirt. I was just gonna throw a name out of the shirt, but I ain't want to disrespect whoever made it.
I think what happened during that shoot was we said we were gonna go dressed up formal. We had suits on. We did that. I think that's what that photo shoot was way back in the day when we started this, and it was I Am Athlete Tonight. That's what I think you were.
You look like you were like
booted.
a top 10 NBA draft pick. This looks like your draft photo.
Low key.
Like when you put the hat on, and it's like, welcome to the city. That's exactly what this looks like. You're a draft pick. Okay. We gotta get you a little bit more of a swagged out photo. Maybe we should get you a hat like I'm wearing.
Nah, I'll pass on that. Well, you pull it off, but I don't think I can pull that one off.
That's a dope shot. That's one of your best shots
Shout
ever.
out to Keon. He killed that photo. But listen, it was a crazy, crazy weekend in football in the NFL world. Hopefully you got a chance to enjoy and watch some games. Guys, let's dive into some Wednesday headlines. Let's just get right into it. Brandon, what stood out to you this weekend?
Yeah, so obviously these headlines, is for us to just tease what we're going to get into the show. I'm literally telling myself this, so we'll dive deeper into this soon. For me, what I wrote down, Ashley, was Eagles are contenders, Dolphins are pretenders.
Wow, that's okay. Wow.
And I had the Dolphin hat sitting there at home studio because it was like, the first 4 weeks of the season, they were the best in the business. And now, we'll dive into it later. I think they're pretenders.
Okay, so for me, it was Lamar crushing the Lions. He crushed the Lions, he crushed his haters, crushed everybody who thought golf would go in and outplay him. I was one of those guys, bro. I'm sorry. I apologize. But we're going to get into it. But Lamar showed out. So that's my headline going into today.
All right, and mine is, will Mahomes catch Tom Brady? Did you guys watch the Chiefs?
Yeah.
And the Chargers? We'll dive into the Chargers. You know how I feel about the Chargers. But the Chiefs look good. I think that, we had a lot of people were curious or worried about maybe the Chiefs not looking like a Super Bowl team earlier in the season. They look like they're starting to click on all cylinders just right at the right time. So we're going to see what that looks like. But let's dive into some Sunday Night Football. Okay? We're going to kick things off with that. Now, I don't know if you caught the Dolphins-Eagles game, but I don't know what you were doing if you weren't watching it. It turned out to be a great game until it wasn't, if you're a Dolphins fan. Now, Jalen Hurts did have turnover issues, but he also accounted for 3 touchdowns. So where there's pros, there are also cons, or where there are cons, there's also pros. Now, we can't go ahead and forget Tua against the Eagles defense, how that looked. Now, obviously, there was a big storyline underneath this entire game, seeing the connection, the Alabama connection between Jalen Hurts and Tua, and how Tua came in the game for Jalen Hurts, and then the following year, Jalen Hurts came in the game for Tua. So there's a lot of storylines underneath this. Now, the only bright spot for the Miami Dolphins was a touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, and it would have been worse if it were not for the Dolphins' pick 6. So the Dolphins looked like they were kind of struggling to find their footing, and the major storyline, I feel like, of the night, guys, was the infamous push-tush, aka the brotherly shove.
Was it 4 for 4 or something?
It was 4 for 4, once again proving that while other teams have tried to make this play work, hello Dallas Cowboys, we tried, failed miserably, the Eagles have not only tried it, but they have perfected it, making it almost impossible to stop. 4 for 4 is extremely impressive, not one stop. Makes you wonder if the banning of this play is going to be intimate. Hopefully it's not. I think that would be soft for the NFL. But you gotta think, teams are going to start getting a little bit annoyed at the fact that there's one team out of 32 that can successfully convert this play, and it's virtually unstoppable.
Well, Chris Collinsworth said it best last night, right? Because when you think about the competition committee and you think about things being changed, you got to ask yourself why. So Chris Collinsworth last night talked about it being a health concern or health hazard for players. Apparently this weekend, the Raiders, defensive lineman for the Raiders went down. So I think that's the only way it gets banned. I think he added a lot of perspective to it. It's like let's look at the statistics here. How many guys are getting hurt during this play because of this play?
Is it a lot?
I don't know, but when you talk about
open up that can of worms, man, because I don't even think nobody even thought about pretending to be injured or the injury that this could have caused.
That's right.
So if that would have never came up, I think
more of the lines we're looking at it getting banned potentially because you have one team out of 32 that can successfully do it, and you have a bunch of other teams who are unable to even do it successfully once in a game. And you have a team on the other side who is not only doing it once or twice, but multiple times in a game, and it's giving them multiple opportunities to continue their possession, continue their play, and it's virtually unstoppable. So I think if you were seeing more, and I'm not saying it should be banned, I'm against it being banned.
That's why I brought it up, because we can't stop Tom Brady. And that was something that you teased. Okay, is Patrick Mahomes going to catch Tom Brady? Well, for 20 years, we couldn't stop Tom Brady. So now are we going to ban Tom Brady? Now it's a play.
I agree with you completely.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I don't think it should be banned, but I'm leaning towards the more successful the Eagles get with it, the more owners are going to be pissed off by it. I don't know, Brandon, where do you stand on that?
Just because it's one team, you can't. Like how B was saying. Now, if every team was doing it, it wasn't fair because it's an automatic first down, then yeah, you can do something about it. But because it's one team, no, find a way to stop it. In the history of the NFL, I don't think it's one play that ever just was unstoppable.
Right.
When a Wildcat came along, it's like nobody can stop it for a year, but then we figured out how to stop it later on. So because it's just one team that's perfecting it, give it some time.
I feel like it's been 2 years though, right? Because the Eagles did this in the Super Bowl. They were running this play all last season. They're in the second year of running this play.
Yeah, find a way to stop it. Hey,
I agree.
It's not
I don't think that
Philly that y'all can't stop it.
I agree. I don't think that banning it would be a good look for the NFL, but we've seen the NFL do pettier things, so we will see. But diving into this game, guys, what was your biggest takeaway from this matchup? I think you had two teams going into it 5-1, two teams that a lot of people said Super Bowl contenders. Which team came out of it? Obviously, the Eagles won it, but which team came out of it looking more Super Bowl ready?
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles, that was my tease, right? Eagles are contenders, Dolphins are pretenders. I think if you're a Dolphins fan, you're looking at this and you're probably like, you know what, this is one game, we're still so talented, we'll be okay. And if you're a player, you have that same mindset, right? Because you never feel like you're out of it. You feel like, dang, even a coach, we correct these mistakes, we'll be right back on track, we'll be right where we need to be. But this is the second game that they had this type of outing. The Buffalo Bills, they showed up, they got blew out, right? And so, if I'm management, we're going to keep blue. Every time I say blue needs to pop up on the screen there. But if I'm management and if I'm ownership, right, because you're looking at it from a different lens and a different perspective, I'm looking at this saying, I don't think we're ready. Yeah. Right? Because think about it. The great teams, the teams that consistently win at that level and get over the hump are teams that go out there and they win these type of games, right? The Philadelphia Eagles, they were in the Super Bowl last year. If you go back and watch them last year, they overcame, some of these games. They were able to break through, and that's how they found themselves in this position. You can't go out there and not get it done against them and the Buffalo Bills. And so, to me, the biggest takeaway is that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be okay, right? It's going to look differently than it did last year. Ashley, you brought that up a lot last week, talking about why are they struggling a little bit? It seems like they're not where they were last year. It doesn't matter. Look at their record. To me,
you are what your record says you are.
And then the Dolphins, bro, I hit somebody up on the Eagles last night, and I said, what did y'all do to slow them down, and how did y'all win? Because this is the blueprint. Because if you stop this team, this offense, a historical offense, you're going to win. He said we just made them check the ball down.
B, well, first off, I'll say this. They both still contenders, right? And you know who the Miami Dolphins is this year? Exactly who the Buffalo Bills was the previous years. They're going to look great some games, and then they're going to have some ugly losses.
So you said they're contenders?
They're contenders. They just lose ugly. The Dolphins will still win their division. But when they lose, just like the Bills in recent years,
Yeah.
they're going to lose bad, and it's going to look ugly. And you'll say, oh, previously Josh Allen turned the ball over. He'll get back on track, and he did. And they still were contenders going into the playoffs. So the Dolphins just lose ugly, right? And this game didn't surprise me. We talked about this last week. They have basically Ramsey still not playing. Xavier Howard was going to be out. We said the Eagles were going to move this ball up and down this defense, right? Because they're going to have to play a light box to protect their corners with Eli Apple and such out there. And we knew they was going to get their opportunities to make big plays on the outside. So when they tried to run a too high safety shell, they had a light box, they can run the ball. So
yeah, but if we're talking about, bro, like I don't even know if they named this offense yet. You're talking about the greatest show on turf, right? Like that's the strength of your team. That's what got you to the Super Bowl. The Dolphins, if the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl, and you know I'm a big fan of Fangio, I'm a big fan of what they're doing on the defensive side. This is a complete team on paper, and then obviously what they've done through the first 6-7 weeks of the season. But your strength is through Tua and 10, and Coach McDaniel. You put up, 17 points last night, Ashley? 17 points. That's not enough, bro.
But again.
But I think we're also, to Beeflo's point, and I agree with you, we're still talking about a team that's 5-2. And I think that we're on two opposite ends of the spectrum here with this conversation, because for the Eagles, we've been saying for the past 7 weeks, they're winning, but they don't look great. And they're beating teams that they should be beating, but they're barely beating them. I feel like this is the first time we have seen the Eagles go against an equal competitor and blow them out, which now speaks to, okay, the Eagles are starting to find their momentum. For the Dolphins, we've seen them blow out really good football teams. The Buffalo Bills, I'm sorry, not the Buffalo, or was it the Buffalo Bills?
No, the Buffalo Bills beat them.
They lost the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
What was the other team that they blew up? Well, the Denver Broncos, not a really good football team. Okay, whatever. I think that when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, it's a little bit of a different conversation where you know this is a really talented football team that's dealt with some injuries, that has dealt with, losing Jalen Ramsey. They lost their rookie, Devon Achane. So that's kind of, they're trying to figure out
their game plan.
Chargers.
Right.
So they beat the Chargers, they beat the Patriots, they beat the Broncos, they lost to the Bills, they beat the Giants, they beat the Panthers, they lose to the Eagles.
So they're in a similar situation, I would say, that the Eagles were before this matchup against the Dolphins, where they're beating really good. They're not beating really good football teams. They're beating teams
that they're supposed to be.
They're beating teams they're supposed to be. It's a little bit up and down play. Sometimes the games are a lot closer than they should be. I think that when the Dolphins play another team at their level, the version that we get of them, I feel like you can make that assessment more. This just was a situation where their two teams came in at kind of on the same spectrum. I still think that the Miami Dolphins are a contender.
So I think that's where we have to break down what that word looks
and
like.
They lost
contender,
a lot
like
of
they will be a
players.
playoff team,
Remember
but
that.
I'm not thinking about, when I think about contender, and y'all know sometimes I'm on the extremes, right? So when I think about contender, I'm like a team that really has an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. And the Miami Dolphins, they're going to get in, but then it got to be perfect conditions. What if they got to go travel to Buffalo?
But that's the case for everybody, though, Brandon, is it not?
No, it's not for them.
No, but
it's not for the Kansas City Chiefs. No, it's not.
Every team needs perfect conditions to win. Why did Phil Jackson say in the NBA, to win a championship, it's 50% talent and 50% luck? Meaning you got to be healthy. Meaning the conditions got to be right.
But no, not the conditions. I do believe the luck part of what Phil Jackson said and what you're talking about. But this team can travel. We got Tyreek Hill coming on the show next week. And that's one of the questions that I asked him was like, does y'all game travel? And he said, yeah, speed travels. But, okay, the Miami Dolphins in December is practicing in 80-degree weather. The Philadelphia Eagles is practicing in snow. So it's a treat for them to come down and practice in Florida or anywhere. But I'm talking about in playoffs.
Okay.
That's what I mean by conditions.
I will say this. So for me, contenders is, can you get to the AFC Championship? Not win a Super Bowl. What other team in the AFC do you think is that much better than the Dolphins besides Kansas City?
Right.
That
and
would
don't
just
say
be an
Buffalo.
AFC Championship.
Buffalo already beat them.
But we're
Buffalo,
talking
clearly better.
The Ravens.
You think that Buffalo is clearly better than Miami?
It's not clearly. It's to me. I think that and we'll talk about the Ravens here soon. But when you think about these teams, that's why Patrick Mahomes this whole day today. is all going to be one little conversation, right? Because we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and can he catch Brady? I don't think there's no competition right now for what I'm seeing, because all these other teams, there's the Kansas City Chiefs, and then everybody's right here.
So that makes them a contender. They are a contender to play Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, but when you say bona fide, right, like it could be Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, it could be Miami Dolphins, it could be the Buffalo Bills. Hell, what's going to happen with the Jets? What's going to happen with a few of those other teams that just kind of there and, you know, November they start breaking through? I just don't think that you can say here's the number two team in the AFC.
I feel like you can, though, because when you look at the AFC, you talk about Buffalo. Buffalo just lost to New England.
Yep.
So B-Flow's been talking about this with the Buffalo Bills, is that they're very hot and cold. They don't always look like a team that is prime and ready to go deep into the playoffs, even a Super Bowl. We've seen them lose games that they shouldn't lose. We've seen them get in close games. We see them, it's a very hit or miss situation. Okay, let's take Buffalo out of the equation. The Baltimore Ravens look good, but they've lost games.
They had some bad losses.
So
that's right.
When we talk about top dogs in the AFC, the Miami Dolphins are still there.
No, I put them up there, but it's like the Chiefs are here, and then there's B, C, and D, and then there's everybody else. Because when you think about this, the great teams, bro, like the Colts, we've never seen Peyton Manning and the Colts lose the way that the Miami Dolphins lost, or the Baltimore Ravens, or even how Josh Allen, the Bills they're up and down depending on the situation. We've never seen Tom Brady lose like that. Bro,
we have.
Tom Brady, too. I got some notes here. I went back and researched.
We've seen Brady lose some games.
But
the games that count you're referring to?
No, I go back to 2003 when he lost. This was a break. We'll talk about that during another time. I'll save these notes for another time. But it's just like, Tom Brady, Josh Allen's not even in that stratosphere when it comes to Tom Brady, because Tom Brady, there's a consistency there, and they're just too up and down. And that's why I say Mahomes is here, because Mahomes is there's no they beat themselves. Nobody can beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
But that's what I was going to get at. Besides Mahomes, what team this year hasn't had an ugly loss? So you can't just say the Dolphins' ugly loss puts them out of like Super Bowl contention or being a contender, because every team in the NFL that's supposed to be a great team had an ugly loss. And the last point I'm gonna make is
the San Francisco 49ers.
They lost to the Browns.
But they didn't get
quarterback. But they lost to a backup quarterback.
If you're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, you're not supposed to lose.
We're not talking ugly in terms of deficit, but it's, and B-Flaw has a point. You lost to the Browns with a backup quarterback.
But it's the last point I'm gonna make on this, B. Don't sleep on the Dolphins being able to travel, right? You say they practice in the sunny weather, but look who in their division. They used to going into New England in December and playing, because that's their division. They play in New York in December, because that's their division.
Right.
They go to Buffalo with that snowstorm, so they used to playing in those weathers. No, that's what they know. That's what they're conditioned to doing.
It's different because, all right, the Dallas Cowboys.
Why are we catching a stray? We got
So, the Dallas Cowboys, right? Who's in the Dallas Cowboys division?
I mean, you got the Redskins,
Washington.
the Eagles.
Does it get cold in Virginia, DC, the DMV area? You got them. You have Philly, and who else is there?
Giants.
And the Giants, right? So it's cold.
Yeah,
bruh. The Dallas Cowboys in 2015 traveled out to Chicago, and it was 10 degrees.
Chicago's different, though.
Oh, now it's different. So listen, I knew the game was over before it even started. We were the only ones warming up on the field. Dez Bryant came out, peeked in the tunnel. I'm way on the other side of the field. I seen Dez Bryant peek out and did this and ran back in.
Amen.
We blew them out. The Dallas Cowboys is used to traveling to Washington. They're used to traveling to New York.
I will say this,
and then in that game, they let the elements get to them.
Last point before we move on, I think it is fair to say, while the Miami Dolphins are still one of the best teams in the AFC, I think that it's fair to call them a contender. Much like the Eagles, we have to see the Miami Dolphins beat a team that's also a contender to really solidify that statement. We saw the Eagles do it against the Dolphins last night. Now it's time for the Dolphins to do it when that next matchup turns around. You can't, and I think that went ahead. That right there will solidify or shut down any doubt of exactly what this Miami Dolphins team is capable of. So we're going to move on to the NFC East, as Brandon just kind of alluded to. And Jonathan Allen is not happy, guys. He's tired of the shit, as he says.
What happened?
The Commanders, with their backup quarterback, lost to the New Jersey Giants yesterday, falling to 3-4. Now, Washington fans were very, very vocal on NFL Twitter about this loss, but nobody was quite as vocal as Jonathan Allen. Listen to this.
What's the evaluation like after a loss like that?
They whooped our ass, plain and simple. Got to be better.
Anything they did that surprised you guys early on?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think it's just a lack of focus on our part, a lack of attention to detail, not starting fast, and creating holes that are too big for us to overcome in the second half.
Does it get frustrating when that
Fuck
seems...
yes, it does. I'm fucking tired of this shit. Fucking tired of this bullshit. It's been 7 fucking years of the same shit. Tired of this shit.
What can you do now going forward to get it turned around?
Get our minds right and get ready to play fucking Philadelphia.
Jeez.
Well, listen, before we dive into this conversation, guys, I want to go ahead and wish a very, very happy birthday to Christy O, one of our loyal viewers of Paper Route. Happy birthday, Christy O. I hope it's a beautiful day. You guys want to start singing?
Should I do it?
Do what?
Christy O been with us a long time, and she said, well, since it's my birthday, Brandon's going to take off his shirt. Should I do it for her? Should I stand in the middle?
Make her day, bro. Go ahead and make her day. Yeah,
Oh
go
my
ahead and
God.
make her day.
You want me to play some music for
I'm
you?
trying to throw you the game, Christy O.
Christy O's in here like,
Maybe you just show her one nipple. It's like, let's.
I got the littlest nipples in the world.
TMI, bro. You just talked to Ashley about that. You looked at me. Just look at Ashley when you say that.
Yeah, I can't do it. Sorry,
Don't look
Christy
at
O.
me.
I mean, he locked eyes with me and told me that. I tried to look away. That was weird. I mean,
What is it called? What is it called? The areola?
No, the area. The areola is the area around the nipple.
Yeah, I don't have any of that. Can I show? I'm gonna show y'all.
You should just.
Show Christy O, Christy
Look
O.
at my nipple. It's so little. Look.
Wow. Wow.
Isn't that little? I got no areola, Christy O. Yo, happy birthday, Christy O. Yo, somebody try to suck on my nipple.
Tissue, please. Let's get this running.
Damn, man.
Okay, wait. Okay, going back. All right, give me a second. Is my eye water? Okay, here we go. Here we
Somebody said,
go.
what is happening right now? Y'all get a room, dead. Were they zoomed on?
Appreciate you, Nagin. Please tell Brandon to keep his shirt on for the time being. All right, Jonathan Allen, guys. So we heard that soundbite. Someone said Nipplegate. That's funny. Okay. Listen, you guys have both obviously been in situations where the team is just not clicking, the wins are just not coming. I mean, do you understand Jonathan Allen's frustration?
I feel his frustration 100%. I've been on some teams that we won 2 games, 4 games in the season, and we just ain't had the talent, right? The Commanders, they have the talent. They was just always missing a piece. Like, they're always just trying to find a quarterback. Was it Taylor Heinicke? Or they would give Howell a chance? Who is it going to be to have this team propelled to possibly be a playoff team?
Right.
They're looking around the division. Dallas always making runs. Philly making runs. So they don't want to be the odd man out when they feel like they have the team in place. And like he said, he feel like they're in every game, at least starting. Well, they start out slow and they try to get it going towards the end. So I feel his frustration. At times, we just don't really see the raw emotion from NFL athletes. We come in the locker room, we try to get our thoughts together. We try to say what's politically correct. But once the cameras leave, we'll voice our opinion or in the meetings on Monday or Wednesday whenever we get in the building. But right here, you're just seeing the pure, raw emotion of a guy who want to win. And it was his unfiltered self, and I love it. I mean, hopefully that'll get his guys going, letting them know, like, yo, let's not go through just what's the word I'm looking for? Just going through
the motions.
The motions. There we go. Going through the motions and just saying we not there yet. Like, no, let's go out here and compete and try to make a run at this season.
Right.
Brandon, similar question, but slightly different for you. I mean, the Commanders are going through a transition period. You know, they need a quarterback. There's a lot of things within the team that they need. A lot of positions, a lot of tweaking, a lot of trimming of the fat. So I wonder, while an athlete's competitiveness, they always want to win. Do you also, in the back of your mind, have a sense of reality, like, we're not a contender team?
Right.
Like, I want to win. Obviously, no one shows up to work every day wanting to lose. But you also have to have a sense of, like, we're not the Cowboys, we're not the Eagles.
Right.
Like we're kind of bottom of the barrel because we have a lot of work to do. Is that something that even crosses your mind?
Such a good question, Ashley. I was literally about to go at B. I was like, not only is Jonathan delusional, but you're delusional.
What? You don't like you looking at their
They-
roster and comparing it to other rosters. You don't think
That's the
can be a
problem
playoff
with us as players.
besides the quarterback?
No, like that's the problem with us as players. Like we all believe, for the most part, because there's some losers in the locker room. Let's be clear. Like there's some dudes just there to get the check, and they want the fame, right? And so they don't care if we win or lose. There's just a handful of those guys in each locker room, just a handful. But most athletes are delusional. They think that they can win the Super Bowl every year, but the reality is there's only 3 or 4 teams that's really positioned to really contend year in and year out. So when you look at the Commanders, bro, look at all the turmoil from management and ownership to management. Look at the turmoil at the quarterback position. Even their defenses, like I see what you see on paper, but then you got your guy Chase who's coming back off injury. There's a lot of what ifs over there. So yeah, bro, like this is delusion to me. Like you had no opportunity really to contend from the first place. Like it's delusion.
Look at what he's looking at, right? When you in the locker room, you don't care who the owner go be. Like you focused on like we got to get a win. You don't care about management. And like we mentioned, the quarterback position was the only thing I feel that the Commanders are missing. I'm not saying to be a Super Bowl
Eric
contender.
Bieniemy wasn't a big question mark, which I think Eric Bieniemy is doing a good job. I would say he's doing a good job.
That's who give you more just positive thinking about yourself. Like, oh, we got EB coming from Kansas City. Like, hopefully he can get our quarterback going.
I don't think the quarterback's the biggest issue. I think it's one of their issues, but I think they have a bunch of things they need to address.
So what do you think is the Commanders'
I think
issue?
the strongest part of that team is probably the defense. The
But they played
defensive
well
line
last year.
specifically.
Yep.
Everything else needs work.
But the defense played well last year.
Well, no. I
coming
like the
into this
receivers.
year-
I like the
The
receivers.
receivers, okay,
I like the
quarterback, their
receivers.
offensive line's not great.
Yeah.
There's
The quarterback needs time.
the secondary is a little sometimes. Like I feel like the defensive line is the biggest check
I was
for
like
this
him-
team, but there's so many gaps that need to be
I
filled.
was like him almost my entire career. And so that's why I said that, B. I could understand it because I'm like, damn, this is the year we're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know why the hell I thought, like, oh, my goodness, 2013, 14, I'm like, oh, my goodness, I'm hitting up everybody across the league. Jay Cutler's going to be MVP. We're going to win the Super Bowl. The Patriots tried to trade
Did you
for
really?
me.
You really thought that Jay Cutler was going to take you to a Super Bowl?
The Patriots tried to trade for me, and I said no because Jay Cutler was lighting it up in the offseason.
So you were delusional.
I was going to get my money, and I'm playing with Tom Brady, and I have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Everything I wanted. Everything I wanted right there. And yes, I was delusional. I said the Chicago Bears was going to get over the hump, and Jay Cutler was going to be the guy.
So listen, last year this defense was 7th best in points allowed, 4th best in yards allowed.
Yep.
So coming into this year, you like defense ain't not a problem, right? You can't like coming into this season, coming into this,
Yes.
we trunk tight on defense. This is what they're thinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got the receivers. We have a running back. He got hurt. Running back got hurt. But you're thinking, we got Eric Bieniemy coming, man. He can have some of that Mahomes magic that he bringing over here. You're thinking positive. It's
But
no
you're
reason
thinking-
that you don't think you can possibly, at least.
You're thinking positive with no quarterback and no offensive line for the quarterback that you are going to be using. You got
like
what's
you
his
said,
name?
the quarterback
You
is a
got Sam
problem.
Howell.
The quarterback, Sam Howell isn't
You got
bad.
Sam Howell out there running for his life.
He's Jared Golfish, but okay, he's Jared Golfish.
I kind of like Sam Howell. So the problem might be the head coach then. How long? The question is, how long does he last? Does he last this entire season?
I just don't think the pieces are there. Yes, the defense coming into the season, you thought that it was going to be a lock, but then looking around the league, other defenses got better. So your defense is not number 7 as it was last year because everyone around you got better. So the defensive line is still intact. It's phenomenal. But your secondary is a little wonky. Your offensive line is horrendous. Your quarterback situation, you don't know if Sam Howell is going to be your guy because you got him running for his life every other play.
And that's where the
you don't have
frustration
a running
coming from.
game. There's so many situations.
That's where the frustration coming from. He looking at it like, yo, we supposed to be close. Now what we were good at last year, we're not even good at now. We supposed to have the offense going. We don't even got this going. Like, what is going on over here?
And here's the situation, guys. Listen, we're past the 4-week mark where, it's, overreactions. You know what these teams are. Teams are settling into their identity. The teams that will have a chance the second half, they're still in it, right? Like they're sitting at 3 and 4. It's not ideal.
It's not terrible.
It's not ideal, but they're still in it. They're still in it. So we can see, because I do agree with you, B, that they have a makeup to be a really good team, but something's off. To Ashley's point, you got offensive line, Sam Howell banged up, right? What's going on with Ron Rivera? But man, like, you're not going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. You're not going to top them.
You think they think that?
It sound like he thinking.
I mean, no matter what your record was, when you played a division game, did you always feel like you had a chance, or you felt like, oh, they undefeated, we won one
Going to
game?
the Super Bowl with Jay Cutler.
Yeah, but after that, that's when I realized, I was like, shit, we ain't got no chance. I used to hate, like, when I was playing.
But initially, like, you
the
thought
Jets,
like, we
the
might have a
second year,
chance.
the Jets, the second year, and then the Giants, like, those were the years where I was like, we suck. I never thought that as a player. I thought just like him. I'm like, we got a
That's
chance.
what I'm saying.
I know
That's what I'm
but the
saying.
reality is, like, bro, you know how defeating and deflating that is? When you walk into the locker room, whether it's practice or in game day, and you know that you don't have a chance to win on Sunday?
I won 2 and 4 games my first 2 years. I know.
Me
Trust
too.
me, I know.
Listen, from a team that doesn't have much of a chance to a team that does, Lamar Jackson, big statement over the weekend. If he is not in your MVP contention, well, you might as well redo that list, because he is here and he had something to say, all right? So Lamar Jackson had over 400 yards of total offense and 4 touchdowns in a blowout win over the red-hot Detroit Lions, who entered that game 5-1. Now, Dan Campbell, head coach of the Detroit Lions, tried to put that game into perspective after the humbling loss. Take a listen to this.
Self-induced. Those guys, they played well. They kicked our ass, and that's a credit to them. Lamar beat us. He hammered us with his arm. You know, he threw the ball extremely well. He ran when he needed to, and we did not handle it.
That's a nice way of saying we got punched in the mouth and we didn't respond. But I think the big story here is Lamar Jackson. I think a lot of people, you know, for some reason in Lamar's career, I feel like people have always kind of dismissed what he's able to do as a quarterback, especially as a franchise quarterback. But I feel like this game, I don't know how you can say that he's not an MVP. I don't know how you can say he's not top 3 in MVP favorites this season.
Right.
I mean, what he did in that game, that was a statement game. This wasn't, this wasn't the Giants. This wasn't, the Commanders. This was the red-hot 5-1 Detroit Lions playing phenomenal football, and he just completely dismantled that.
See, for me, B, when I look at this, it's like, I'm not even looking at Lamar Jackson and debating MVP or not, because he's already done that, right? Like, we know how special, or if you don't, like, I don't know what you're watching. But for me, I know how special Lamar Jackson is, right?
But let's not pretend that there's a lot of people who will discredit what Lamar does week in and week out.
Correct. And so for me, I'm on something else. Like, I'm on with, I think Lamar and a bunch of people in that organization's on, it's like Super Bowl, right? That's what I'm watching this game. I'm like, yo, I know he's special. I know he has finally the pieces around him that can take him and this team to a whole nother level. Like, the discussion for me is not even MVP, B. It's more so about, can this team be the team that compete against Patrick Mahomes? Can he get over that hump? That's what I'm looking at. And right now, you really don't know.
Yeah.
You really don't know. It's special, but it's like, man, you lost to the Colts. You lose to the Steelers. The Steelers has the Baltimore Ravens number, right? So it's like, those are the games that you have to win. The Steelers is a team that you have to find a way to overcome. He hasn't been able to do that. Well, not him, the Baltimore Ravens. It's just tough for him when they go to Pittsburgh. So, the discussion is different for me.
You hit it on the head, B. Like, some of us never questioned is Lamar good, because since his MVP year, like, when he's healthy, you counting on them to win 11, 12 games. It's just when he get hurt, they drop 3. He get hurt for the rest of the season, they'll drop 7 straight. He took off last year, so that's why you haven't been seeing the Baltimore Ravens.
He took off last year.
He took, I feel you, bro. Get your money. But just only when he out of the lineup, right? That's the only time you don't have the Ravens in the discussion where, how you said, can they be a contender and go against Patrick Mahomes to take crown in this AFC? I agree with you, man. It's just, what is he going to do in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Because right now, or even whenever he was healthy, you could never put him outside the top 5, I feel. No matter who was hot, who was cooking, he just has that special talent where it's like, when you give him the ball, he might break out for 70. He might throw a touchdown for 70. And he's just so explosive, right? So this team just have to come around him. I think the defense, once the defense come along and go and get that Ravens brand back to what it used to be, then we can start talking about, hey, this Ravens team.
Now he's a real competitor to
When you
KC.
speak about the playoffs, though, is that more of a Lamar thing or a Ravens thing?
It's a Ravens thing because I think Lamar always played ball in the playoffs. And I will say this, even if his numbers aren't the same, I didn't like the way they used him in the playoffs. When they ran him too much, they don't let him throw the ball until they get down by maybe 12, 17 points, and then he started winging it at the end of the game. And then we say next year, hopefully, they'll let him do this all season. So now that they have a new OC, we'll see. It might be something new when they get to the playoffs, a different Lamar.
Yeah.
So how many quarterbacks are you taking over Lamar Jackson right now? Question for both of you.
Ooh, right now?
Right now.
You can only take Patrick Mahomes, maybe Trevor Lawrence, but
What?
maybe.
Trevor.
Over Lamar Jackson right
You
now?
got Josh Allen.
I won't take Josh Allen over Lamar.
You said, hold on. You won't take Josh Allen over Lamar, but you'll say Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence is
What about
ice
Tua?
cold. I won't take Tua over Lamar, not right now. He's there right
Joe
under Lamar
Burrow.
to me. Joe ain't have a good year this year.
I can't
so
give you
far.
Trevor Lawrence.
I like
over
Trevor
Even the
Lawrence.
kid,
I can't give
the kid in Houston, the
Trevor
rookie in
Lawrence
Houston's
over-
playing well, right?
No, we're talking
Over Lamar,
We're
though.
talking
We're talking
quarterbacks.
about
We're just
over
talking
Lamar,
quarterbacks. So
yeah.
you're taking CJ over.
No, I'm saying I'm just throwing quarterbacks out there that we got to pick for. Like for me, I would say the right situation, and I'm still not sure that this is the right situation, right? Like they just got together. It's week 7. Lamar in the right situation. There's Patrick Mahomes and there's Lamar Jackson. And
So
I
you
think
don't got
that's what
Trevor
you were
Lawrence in
talking
this
about.
category at all, either of y'all.
No. I think Trevor Lawrence up there, but
I'm
to
not
me,
putting him over
Lamar
Lamar.
Jackson, you put Lamar Jackson with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
You put him, even
That's
in
not fair.
Kevin Stefanski's offense, right? Like, I don't think he's the best coach, but I love his philosophy. I love his offense for him. It's derived from, like, that Shanahan tree.
Yeah.
You put him in there, I'm taking him all day. But now you put him into, like, what he was in the last 4 or 5 years, then I can say, yes, I'll take Joe Burrow. I'll take all these other guys, Justin Herbert. I'll take those guys. Lamar Jackson is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. But it got to be the right coach with him, and he might be there. You can see it. That's why we're talking about it.
We're not moving him around to different scenarios. I'm saying we're not doing
That's
that.
too easy?
We're not doing that. We're not moving. We're talking about right now, where they are, how they are.
Damn.
How they're playing. How many quarterbacks are you taking over Lamar Jackson? I'm not moving him to different teams and different coaches right now.
To me, he's top 2 or 3. I'm Mahomes, and I love what Trevor Lawrence doing.
So you're taking Trevor Lawrence over Lamar Jackson.
Right.
So it goes
now.
Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Jackson.
That's
crazy.
tough, B.
That is insane.
Because I can't, I will say this. I can't put it on Lamar the game when all the receivers was dropping the passes, and then he did turn the ball over, so he looked like, like this offense is out of sync. To me, Trevor Lawrence never had that terrible game. And, like, it's just what he's doing in Jacksonville. What he's doing in Jacksonville, bro.
I would have, if you would have said
Trevor is
Justin
special.
Herbert, I would have given you that.
Okay,
but
I
you
give
went
you this.
Trevor Lawrence. You jumped way over the, over the line.
I give you this. In the playoffs, Trevor plays great in the playoffs. Who would you trust more in the playoffs right now? Trevor Lawrence or Lamar Jackson?
I'm riding with Lamar, bro.
Even though you said the Ravens didn't do anything in the playoffs yet.
Yeah,
I'm taking Lamar,
but that's
too.
go back to, like, Ashley puts us in this tough spot because you're talking about right now.
Yeah, right now, as
it's
they
like
are.
I feel like it's still defining itself. Like Lamar Jackson he's not only a top five talent, top 5 quarterback in the league. There's an argument that he's top 10, like, of all time when it comes to athlete. Like, he's taking the position to a whole nother level. Now the only question is, can he stay healthy? So, like, Lamar's special, but it got to be the right situation. So right now, let me answer Ashley's question. Okay, boom, you got Patrick Mahomes.
That's the only way you can kind of name, except Trevor Lawrence. But y'all killing me with Trevor Lawrence.
No,
Right now, I'm
Your
taking
point- hold on, though.
Patrick Mahomes, and I like Tua in his situation. Then there's Lamar. Tua's playing exceptional.
You gave Trevor Lawrence a pass. You said he's never had a bad game. Didn't he have a terrible game in Kansas City?
B just making up stuff right there with that Trevor.
Was that
I
not,
like Trevor Lawrence.
Was that not a terrible game?
I like Trevor Lawrence. I mean, hey.
We gonna get you. You want to take that back?
Yeah, you want to take
No,
him.
I like Trevor Lawrence.
You want to put him after
I'm
Lamar?
going with my heart right now, like B do when he let's ride this thing. So let me go with my
Oh,
heart.
y'all saw my boy this weekend?
I was with you.
They got
I
a
said he was
weekend.
gonna do his thing.
They got to win. They back on.
We're gonna
ride.
We're gonna dive into that.
All y'all Russell Wilson haters, Green Bay came in town. I don't care if it was Jordan Love, no Aaron Rodgers. They got the deal done. Okay? Go, Ashley.
Real quick, I mean, cause of concern for the Detroit Lions, or was this just you can't win them all?
Yeah, like I said earlier, every team in the league done had a bad loss so far. So I won't chalk this up to them not being a contender no more. Every team that had a loss like this, and they got an identity, like we mentioned before in the show. So they'll bounce back next week. They'll be fine in the NFC.
I'm concerned for the Detroit Lions, bro. Like,
You're so dramatic,
let me tell you,
Brandon. You are such a drama queen. You really
What's
are.
the score, Ashley? What was the score? Can you tell
are a drama queen. I'll pull up the score for
The
you right now.
score was 30-something to 6.
But you know those games when you
It
play up like
was
nothing can
38
go
to
our
6.
way, bro.
Here's-
like
because-
nothing is going our way.
I mean, I am a
Been
drama
there.
queen. What was the score? 33 to
38 to 6.
38 to 6. And to me, there is a bit of, it's like it's either we're getting it done or we're not. You know, very rarely do we see a championship team, because that's what it's about, right? That's why I say
Yeah.
black and white. Like it's either we win the championship or we don't. That's success or failure, is right there.
Yeah.
I don't see a successful team, a championship team, losing this way.
But again,
Did
look
you the Mahomes last year, let's just start, because there's so much stuff we can dive into. Last year in the Super Bowl teams, Patrick Mahomes ever take an L like this?
But Mahomes is the only player that won't
ever
take
take
a
an L like this?
Mahomes is the only player that won't take an L like this.
Jalen Hurts didn't take an L like this last year.
I mean, yeah, you can say that, and that's why they got to the Super Bowl. But like, it's who they face.
'Cause
Lamar, this is Lamar just being Lamar. He can do this to any defense in the league.
Nah,
it's not. Name one defense Lamar can't go for
Lamar's
400
on
against.
like he's averaging what 20-something points. It's like he's on
And this is what he
crazy run
do.
right
That's
now.
why he was the MVP. He can go
right.
for 400 in the game and don't surprise you.
But you only put up. What does Lamar got to do with Jared Goff in this offense?
Listen,
how do you only put up 6 points?
We're going to go ahead and get Brandon a couple of auditions while we break, because he is prime and ready for Hollywood. Apparently, just dramatic.
Really?
You're a little dramatic. You like to jump out the window and come back in. It's okay.
Detroit Lions. I'm
That's
not
your-
concerned about them losing 38 to 6.
That's your
At all.
vibe. You jump out the window, you come back through the window.
my
But we will be
goodness.
right back after this break. Don't you guys move. We're going to pull Brandon back inside real
That's
quick.
crazy.
We're going to yank him back in.
MJ before though.
What did I say?
Like if he played now,
he wouldn't do what he was
yeah,
doing.
he would be looked at like amongst the other greats, but he wanted to stand out like.
Oh no. This is gonna be a fact. This is gonna be a fact.
Love it.
Now he talking.
This is right here. I love Gil, dog.
I love him. That's the only thing I don't like. He be saying.
Come on, let him get it
off.
off.
He said it's a fact. Okay,
This
let's
is pure fact, right? If we take MJ,
Michael
we
Jordan.
take LeBron, Michael Jordan,
Okay.
and we switch them in eras, boom. Michael Jordan's personality, the way he lived his life, he will not be perfect like LeBron is.
I mean,
in this,
we talking about on the court. I don't know about
no.
all that.
Whoa, when you talking about your whole package,
Dog.
when we're talking
I'm
about
not doing that.
No.
I don't do
When
that.
we're talking about
Nah,
when
I'm
we're
not
talking
doing
about Ja Morant and the silly he's doing, and that's tarnishing his legacy. You take MJ's personality to the gambling, all that, and put it in this scrutiny. No,
every
he
player.
is not MJ.
That's every player, bro.
Not LeBron.
Well, I'm the same.
Whoa.
Okay, so
LeBron didn't have a ticket in his era.
LeBron-
you put him in an era where you don't.
Bro,
There's
he
no
ain't have a ticket.
media.
I know.
He ain't got a ticket.
Bro.
He don't have a
Dog,
ticket.
LeBron, there's nobody like LeBron. LeBron is the best role model we've ever seen in any
But
sport.
that's what I'm
But when
saying.
hold up. This is where I push back. Because we
But if you,
I don't
but
wanna
I'm
get
talking
nobody-
about,
you
but
get in personal business.
I'm talking about but we're talking about a image that we
Come on,
see.
bro. I'm just saying a player. I'm saying him as a basketball player. Magic was sleeping with all type of women.
Didn't know about it.
Jordan was gambling.
But that's
so if
us,
I'm saying,
we
if
know.
you put them in it, like you can do. It's any era, bro. We all have baggage. I'm talking about basketball. I don't get in.
But you can't do basketball.
Yeah, bro.
You can't do it.
Everything's a
Come on,
total
dog.
package.
Yeah, you telling me y'all stopping? You telling me the 80s and the 90s is stopping a 6'10", 260 man coming downhill. He is the biggest person on the court. Dennis Rodman and them were 210.
I'm talking about MJ. See, I don't want to mix up the conversation. I want the viewers to know we're talking about Michael Jordan. I don't know about him game, I'm talking about him as a basketball player.
If he's in this era?
If he's in this era, he's just going to be a good player, right?
No. He'd be dominant.
Would he be just as dominant back then? Would he like now?
Yes.
Okay. So I thought you said okay. Then we're on the same page. I thought I heard you say something because I like when you take
No.
Your takes be like you feel it. I like how you be speaking your
there's
mind.
certain players. Like there's certain players that are just generational.
Yeah.
So when you talking about
right.
like a person like Michael Jordan, his abilities over exceed his eras because he was the caviar.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about 6'6" guards, hands, explosiveness, jumping, 46-inch verticals. Since they've been doing verticals, there's only one player that's topped his vertical. That's Zach LaVine. That's it. Now you're talking about Zach LaVine jumping ability with a Russell Westbrook takeoff, with a Kobe swag.
Right.
Well, like, that's a whole
so we're on the same page then. Okay, cool.
Can you tell them what green light means?
Oh yeah, when the green light come on, it's time to go, man. It's time to go. I actually, that was my name.
You smell me?
They called you green light?
Yeah, I learned all this shit from him. Him and Beach, oh my God.
The girls in the back.
We could talk for hours.
Green light here. Okay.
Hey, green
light.
light.
By the way, it's a song.
Hold on, let me explain
It's a song
this
on the
real
Best of Both
Let me
Worlds.
explain this though, because this is.
It's a song on Best of Both Worlds that called the Green Light. You don't know that song?
Oh yeah.
Green light.
Yeah.
Every time I go in Magic City, that song come on.
Huh?
I make sure the DJ play it. I spend about 15, 16, 20,000.
On the song?
One song.
Yeah, on that song. Like that's the time to go. It's time to go.
And you gotta realize, I'm young.
In 3 hours in the strip club.
But I'm young, bro.
Yeah,
I'm young.
No, I spend more than 5,000.
I ain't even throwing my money.
I ain't going on one song though.
Pac and Tish had to teach me how to throw money a couple months ago.
Listen, I
ain't know how to do it.
I spent $10,000 every Monday night for 10 years straight.
Come on, and I matched you too. That's no
Want to
cap.
say that again?
I spent $10,000
every
Monday night in Magic City for 10 years straight. No bullshit.
No bullshit,
for
bro.
10 years straight.
4.8.
Was it worth it?
Hell yeah.
That's a great question too. My finance advisor will be on my line. Shady McCoy. I mean, listen, if you want to be broke, keep doing that. You know how they talk.
I mean, for me, yeah, it was worth it because it was a cultural movement. It wasn't even about the dances per se. It wasn't about me being this horny guy that wanted to see naked women, right? It wasn't about that. It was just about the actual cultural movement of what was actually happening.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. And listen, you never want to miss an episode of Paper Route because you never know who's going to be stopping by. And tomorrow, we have Mr. Taylor Swift in the building. It's Travis Kelce is going to be joining the show. You do not want to miss it. Maybe Brandon will sing one of Taylor Swift's songs for him. And we can have him rate it, as you know. Brandon,
say that again.
We have Travis Kelce in the building, Mr. Taylor Swift. No, I'm not gonna call him Mr. Taylor Swift. But Travis Kelce is gonna be joining us. The future Hall of Famer will be in the building live. You don't wanna miss that, so make sure you go ahead and set your reminders. We're gonna be diving into all things, obviously Kansas City Chiefs, his podcast, and maybe some
Did y'all
other
play
things.
together?
There's some other things to talk about.
I was there when he came in as a rookie.
Give us a story.
Save it. We'll save it.
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll say that for the interview.
We'll
say that for the interview. We'll say that for the interview. Cause I got a couple stories that I want to run by.
I like
Did
that.
you really remember
Did
this?
you ever get a chance to guard him like in practice one-on-ones? Because he probably had to work his way up to going against you.
Like we plugged him in from day one because he was that talented, but he got injured, his rookie year, so he didn't finish the whole season. But we definitely got it in at the beginning of the season for sure.
Okay.
So like I said, you guys don't want to go ahead and miss that. So make sure you set your reminders, spread the word, tell your friends. We got Travis Kelce joining us tomorrow. Now, we're going to dive into some Kansas City Chiefs talk since we are talking about Travis Kelce. We're going to talk about his BFF, his wingman, his quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Now, the defending Super Bowl champions are once again looking unstoppable after a little bit of a slow, rocky start. Of course, like I said, I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Patrick Mahomes threw for over 400 yards with 4 touchdowns, once again getting the better of Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Now, that is now 6 straight wins for the Kansas City Chiefs after losing their season opener against the Detroit Lions. So, bottom line, let's go ahead and just discuss this. Which team has the best shot to take down the Chiefs, if any team at all? And, you know, are they kind of right now a standalone when it comes to Super Bowl favorites?
Hear he, hear he, hear he.
You know it's hear ye, right?
Blue blown. What is
you know
it?
It's hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. I have a public service announcement. The Kansas City Chiefs are the only team that can take down the Kansas City Chiefs, Ashley.
Okay.
Not only this year, but for the next, I say 5 to 10 because I don't know how long Andy Reid is going to do it. You look at all the great relationships, marriages between quarterback and head coaches that went on to win 4, 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls. Really 4 and 7, right? Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, right? That's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is one of the oldest coaches in football. How long is he going to do it? I think Andy Reid, his mindset and his approach will always be innovative. So I don't think he'll be one of those guys that will turn into a dinosaur and you're like, okay, Andy Reid, it's time to go. He's just different like that. So the answer for me is the Kansas City Chiefs. And the question is like, when, you know, the global conversation is like, are we there talking about Tom Brady? Can he catch Tom Brady, or is that later in the show? Is this where we're at?
We're just diving this right now.
So it's not Tom Brady.
We're going to circle back in a second.
Oh, we're circling back. Okay, because I know, like I said earlier in the show, like all this stuff is mixed. But the only team, Ashley B, is the Kansas City Chiefs.
I agree with you because if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to have home field advantage every year. Right? Because they're so flawless. Even though they took a loss early, they flawless during the regular season. And you're telling me they only got to win 2 games to get to the Super Bowl, and then people got to come to Arrowhead? Like, that's almost impossible. But if there is a team, we just talked about a guy maybe 5 minutes ago who maybe can take this team on because he's so explosive in a Lamar Jackson. Their defense will have to come play and try to contain this offense as much as they can. But we all know Lamar Jackson and score 6 touchdowns, right? So they're the only team that maybe can give them a run just because how many points they can put up in the red zone and how deadly they can be in the red zone. But I feel like you now, like my heart want to say it's the Kansas City Chiefs, like whole division, just how it was the Patriots years ago, right?
And the scary thing about this team, right, and it's not just them. I'm looking at the makeup of the NFL. I don't see consistency, sustained success. Josh Allen and the Bills. They go out there and they look like he looks like the next Ben Roethlisberger in his prime where they win the Super Bowl. But then he looks like a damn Hackney. And I don't even know who Hackney is. Quarterback that came from the Penn State. He was supposed to be the next guy, didn't make it, right? And then you look at Joe Burrow, up and down. Like, what's going on? They're back on an upswing. So it's the Kansas City Chiefs that are consistent, and then everybody else is like hit or miss. So that's a big reason why. And then the defense.
Or are they just finding a way to win? Because I think just with the Kansas City Chiefs as well, we've seen them get to really close games that were determined by field goals. We've seen them determined by controversial calls. We go back to that Jets game. So it's not like they're blowing out their opponents. They're just finding a way to win amongst all, you know, the muddy waters that they find themselves in. So it's a testament to a really good football team.
Right.
But I don't know if you can put them drastically ahead of other teams solely because of that.
You know
I don't know
what?
that's the reason that you can put them ahead of teams.
To me, this is the most scariest Kansas City Chiefs team. I'm going to tell you why.
Preach.
Because this defense is playing so
Thank you.
well.
Thank you. I was
This defense is playing ball. Before it's like, hey, it's going to be a shootout. It depends on who got the ball last. Like, let's see. Like
I was starting to question you.
Like, this defense, like, they playing ball, man, and they still trying to make a couple little to get, like, maybe a Frank Clark in here, and they trying to, like, for sure this defense even more.
They trying to bring Frank back?
They trying to bring Frank back.
I agree with what you're
defense.
saying, but I'm saying in terms of Brandon's point that they are drastically ahead of, like, the Ravens. They're drastically ahead of the 49ers. I don't feel like the gap is that drastically large, only because, yes, they are winning, but if we're talking offensively speaking, we've seen them in close games. They're finding ways to win, which, again, like I said, a testament to a really good football team. We talk about all the time, you are what your record says
But
you
think
are.
about it, though.
But
They started
can
this
you
season
drastically put them ahead of other teams, like the Eagles and the 49ers?
So yes, first off, we know the Kansas City Chiefs, because of their offense, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they have never, like last year, they played really well. Coach Spags, the defensive coordinator, did a really good job in the Super Bowl in the postseason. But for them to now win games off of their defense while this team is trying to figure things out, Travis Kelce was banged up before the season even started. He didn't play week 1, did he? The loss against Detroit?
No.
I don't think so.
No, he missed that game, right? And then he's
playing hurt
banged
right
up.
now
He's
as well.
playing hurt ankle. That's his number 1 guy. They don't have. We've been talking about Tyreek Hill not being there. The opening night, Tony, he drops 3-4 balls. His receiver's not showing up. So they're still like trying to find their stride from an offense perspective. But you know he's going to start lighting it up. For them to be finding ways to win, Ashley, to your point, while, they're not there, it's scary. I agree with you. This is the scariest.
It's a testament of a really good team, but can you drastically put them ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles?
See, this is the thing.
Can you drastically put them ahead of the 49ers? Those teams are winning off of their defense as well. Those teams are finding a way to win in close games as well. I'm not saying that they're not a contender. I'm saying it's not Chiefs here and everybody down here. It's not that far of a gap when you talk about the top teams in the NFL right now.
It might be. I agree with you, B.
In what way?
Because this is the thing that we're forgetting. We're used to being spoiled by the Kansas City Chiefs, and they just blow everybody out. The way they winning is just football in the NFL.
Yeah.
Usually the game come down to a 1-possession, 2-possession game.
3 points.
Throughout the league consistently. So now we're just seeing them kind of being human. But even in that aspect, with Andy Reid, with Patrick Mahomes, when it comes to a tight game, we all still saying they're going to win that. Just because them together with Travis Kelce, you need that third down like nobody is beating them, and their defense is going to get off the field to get them the ball.
So in what way do you put the Chiefs drastically ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, so
in what way?
The way I look at it, listen, last year, all right, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs were in the Super Bowl. Which team got better? I think the Kansas City Chiefs got better because offensively they got some weapons that's still trying to find their way on the offensive side, and defensively they got better. So this is the same team, but the defense got better. And so,
But what I'm asking is in what way, how they're currently playing, are you putting them? I'm not saying ahead. I'm saying y'all keep saying drastically ahead. So, and tell me in which way they are drastically ahead of the 49ers. They are drastically ahead of the Eagles.
Complete team.
Are the Eagles not a complete team?
No, but here's the difference is, so
you're
both
not
are
calling me
complete
up here
teams.
capping for the Eagles.
Both are
That's
complete
crazy.
teams now. Like I would say, like Philadelphia had the edge going into that Super Bowl because they had everything. Now Patrick Mahomes has a defense. And I'm banking on Patrick Mahomes and that offense to start clicking. They haven't clicked yet like that. So to me, that's the edge. It's fun.
So the edge is Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is the edge because now they got a defense. They got everything that they need.
Yeah.
And so now he can just go be the guy that be the difference maker.
And this is what I want to ask you, Ash. Let's just say they was undefeated, right? 6-0, 7-0, whatever. Mm-hmm. Would you still say, yeah, they undefeated, but they not blowing everybody out? Or would you say, nah, they're clearly the best team in the NFL?
Again, I'm not saying that them beating. Like I said, you are what your record says you are. We keep saying that on here, but because it's true. So yes, they're winning. Their record says that they are the best. But if you actually look, it's no different than what we were doing with the Eagles. Like, we can't move the goalposts. We were saying the Eagles are finding a way to win. They're not playing great football, but they're finding a way to win. That's a testament to a really good football team. The same with the 49ers. The Chiefs have been doing the exact same thing for the past 7 weeks. I'm not saying that they're not a good football team, while I'm not saying that they're probably not leading the pack right now, I'm saying it's not a drastic fall off between the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Lions. It's not a drastic fall off.
Hold on, I just want her to answer yes or no.
What?
If they were 7-0 right now, would you say they're not drastically better than everybody else in the league? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, and the only reason they lost that game is because
I would
Travis
say
Kelce.
they're not drastically better. I don't.
Oh, you'll still say they're not, even if they was undefeated. You would say that.
Again, the record is the easy thing to make your point on. When if you're actually watching the games and you're actually watching how they're playing, watching how they're winning, I don't know how you can say up until recently they're drastically better. Even if they were undefeated, I would feel the same way if they were winning in the same way.
Listen, I think it's hard for us. I can understand how you feel. I think it's hard for us to really answer your question. And I guess the best way for me to kind of show it is like, all right, offensive line to offensive line, do they wash themselves out? Defensive line to defensive line, do they wash themselves out? Secondary to secondary, and then coaching to coaching. And so for me, if all these other things are equal, then where is the separation, the edge? I think that Patrick Mahomes is drastically different or better than Jalen Hurts. I think that Andy Reid is drastically different than their coach. So last year it was like
better.
Better.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, better. Thank you. So like last year when they went in there, I would actually say that the Philadelphia Eagles had the edge. Their offensive line was terrible and banged up. Okay, defensively they showed up, but that's not what got them there.
Yeah.
And so Patrick Mahomes, he didn't have this electrifying game, not until the end where they made some plays. But Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce had to find a way to be magnificent. And that's what the great players do. So now what I'm saying is now you put them teams back together and it's equal. Now he don't have to go force it. Now he can just wait, be patient, let the game come to him, and go be magical in those moments. It is difficult to answer it, Ashley, and I think that time will show us exactly that. Maybe this is a rematch from last year, and we'll be able to see that. And that'd be unfortunate because the Cowboys won't be in the Super Bowl. If it's a rematch.
Why are we catching a stray? We had a bye week. Like, let me enjoy my bye week. Like, damn, I had a very peaceful Sunday. Like, let me enjoy that. But speaking about Patrick Mahomes, I think the question, I don't think it's unfair to say he's probably still the best quarterback in football. I feel like we can all agree with that statement, correct?
Yep.
But the comparisons are continuing between him and Tom Brady. So should Brady be shaking in his Gucci sandals on his $7 million yacht that Patrick Mahomes will catch him as the GOAT? Brandon?
I think he definitely has a chance to catch him as the GOAT. Like you mentioned, though, B, it depends on how long Andy Reid stays around. I think he's going to stay around for a while because the game not stressing him out. They winning.
Right.
I've been in the locker room with Andy Reid where he's winning, he having fun, he cracking jokes in the team meeting room. So it's just like, I can't imagine him leaving anytime soon, especially if he's healthy. We talked about this a little earlier, B. I don't know if he needs 8 rings to be considered better than Tom Brady.
Really?
He doesn't, because he's going to pass Brady in every category before he's done, right? My thing is he just has to get 5 Super Bowl rings. So to be in year 8 and have 3 Super Bowl appearances, been into the AFC Championship every year, and it's not going to slow down no time soon, we can realistically say that Patrick Mahomes is going to at least walk away with 5 rings. Being what the NFC is this year, like, they don't have anybody that's dominant over there. Like, he should at least get 5 rings. If he get 1 more ring more than Montana, he's second in Super Bowl rings, but he's first in every category going forward, which I think he should be. We got to crown him as the GOAT.
I don't know, because Nicki Minaj said it best. I mean, I hope I don't mess this up, but she said, they say numbers don't matter, but when they discuss in kings, they turn around and say LeBron ain't got 6 rings. So, like, it's kind of the same scenario. Like, LeBron has surpassed the GOATs in a lot of situations, in a lot of scenarios, and a lot of records. But when they're talking about the greatest of the greats, what is the one knock against him? He don't have MJ rings. He don't have Kobe rings. He don't have Kareem rings. He don't have this person rings. So, like, people love to say that numbers don't matter and you don't need X amount of rings to go ahead and, you know, surpass the GOAT. But I guarantee if his career is all said and done and he only, and I say only because it's still 2, if he only has 2 or 3 to his name, they're saying that Brady is still the GOAT. I don't care how many records he beat him. 7 beats 3. like mathematically every single time.
I get that, 7-3, but if he gets 5, you're going to have the Nick Wrights of the world who's going to dissect every Super Bowl and say, Malcolm Butler, I mean, that Seattle Super Bowl, like, y'all go count that as a ring? Yeah, but did they really win that? You know, like, it counts as a Super Bowl.
It's a ring.
It counts as a Super Bowl, but it's like, that's the ring that you go say, oh, he missed it by 1 or 2. They go start dissecting that and say, yo, he was clearly better throughout his whole career, better than Brady. But if we want to break down Super Bowls, we can break down Super Bowls when Brady didn't play well.
Being
and they still won it.
Being better than Brady in terms of a better athlete, a better quarterback, is a different argument than being the GOAT. I don't think you can argue that Mahomes athletically is better. He has a natural athletic ability that Tom Brady has never had in his career. Let's be honest. He wasn't known because he was an athlete. He was known because he was an assassin. So I think that Patrick Mahomes can be a better quarterback than Brady, but I don't think that he'll be the GOAT, if that makes sense.
So you saying he had to surpass Brady in rings to be the GOAT?
7 beats 6, 7 beats 5, 7 beats 4, 7 beats 3, 7 beats 2.
If you want to talk rings, like Jordan is nowhere near Bill Russell and those guys. But you think Jordan was clearly a better player, and when you seen him with your own eyes, you're just like, yo, he's better. Give him that GOAT. Give him that GOAT status.
But that's a different comparison too, because Bill Russell played in a drastically different era where there was only like 15 teams, like the rules were different. Like it's hard to make that comparison in terms of the GOAT because it wasn't the basketball that we're watching now. Like it's a hard comparison to make. We're talking about Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, who essentially play in the same era. I know the rules have changed over the course of the past few years, but it's still modern NFL. We're not comparing him to Jim Kelly. You know what I mean?
I want to hear your take on it, because then you over there thinking deep right now. I want to hear your take.
The question for me is not like, will he be the GOAT? Can Mahomes catch Tom Brady and become the GOAT by surpassing him in Super Bowl wins? The question that I think Mahomes and all of us have to ask is like, what does he have to do to become the GOAT with only 4 or 5 rings?
But
like, I think he has an opportunity. No, I think he has an opportunity to become the GOAT, right? Because of all the other things that he's capable of doing. So the best thrower of the football right now, ever in the NFL, comes down to Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. So physically, he's already better than Tom Brady. Now, statistically, he's on the path of breaking all of these quarterbacks' record. And now, if he has almost all the records, and he's doing it with flair and fashion, and he has 4 to 5 rings.
And he had the wins. That is not just passing yards. He might have more wins than Brady at the end of the day.
Right. If anybody can do it, it's him. And I don't think he has to have 7, 8 rings to say I'm the GOAT. I don't. I think it's a real debate at 4.
But 7 beats 4.
So basically, we're saying the GOAT is. You get the GOAT status when you have the most rings.
No, because there's other factors. There are a lot of players who have more rings than LeBron James. They're not better than him. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's multiple factors to it. But what I'm saying is that will Patrick Mahomes, if he doesn't have the same amount of rings as Tom Brady, I think he's already at this stage in his career a better quarterback. But when we're talking about the GOATs, when we're talking about the greatest of all time, you can't surpass that for me if you're not even close to what he accomplished when it comes to hardware. It doesn't matter how many records you hold, the hardware matters.
So it doesn't matter if he's in the Super Bowl, he's throwing for 350 yards, but his defense gave up so many points.
Did he win it?
But can you gauge it off that? Like, he showed up in the Super Bowl every year, but his defense let him down.
But did he win it?
That's why you can't
base it off that in football. If he didn't win it, almost only counts in horseshoes.
Here's the thing. How many years, can we fact check this real quick? How many years did Tom Brady play? Was it 21 or 22? Let's look. Can we look that up real quick, Woo? So we'll see that. All right. So Tom Brady sitting at 7 championships. He's won 7. How many Super Bowls has he gone to? We got to look at that as well. Patrick Mahomes is in year 7. He's been to 3. His first one was in year 3. Okay? He's won 2. So let's say he plays, and this is the tough part about it, right? Like for someone to play 15, 16 years, 20 years, that's a feat in itself. So we're saying, okay, for him to catch Tom Brady, you got to play 20, 21 years. So now that could put him on this trajectory. If he's winning 2 every 6, he could potentially be there. And he still hasn't gone on that run. Like Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are the ones that could potentially win back-to-back or maybe 3 in a row, right? And then find a way towards the end of his career. You might have that Brady moment where he go find a better opportunity. Joe Montana went to KC. These great quarterbacks did it.
You guys aren't answering my question. What I'm saying is that you can name a bunch of quarterbacks more talented than Tom Brady. Would you say that Joe Montana was more talented than Tom Brady?
Would you say? I don't know. I don't know about that.
Would you say yes or no?
Yeah,
no, I can't say that.
Hold on. Would you say Dan Marino was more talented than Tom Brady?
Yeah. Potentially as a thrower, yes.
Dan Marino holds multiple records. He was a more talented quarterback, but nobody talks about him as the GOAT because he doesn't have the hardware. What I'm saying is the talent is not does not override the fact that 7 beats 3, beats 4, beats 5. I think Mahomes, if he doesn't get the same amount of hardware, will go down as the second greatest quarterback in the. You can't surpass Brady if you haven't beaten him where it counts.
But that said, we can't even have this conversation until his career is over because he only played in 100.
I think the conversation is premature.
He played in 100 games, right? He played in 100 games. He's won 80 of them.
I know, Angela.
Isn't that insane? And listen.
What does that have to do with
Hold on. But listen, he still haven't even went on his Brady run when he had the best receiver core in the league. Brady still had West, Randy Moss, where they was taking off because they surrounded him with the top receivers in the league. He still ain't get that yet.
But we're not arguing that he's not a better quarterback than Brady. I think everybody has already come to that conclusion that he's more athletic. We've already come to that conclusion. When we're talking about GOAT status, when we're talking about the greatest of all time, how are you even having this conversation about Mahomes right now? He has a whole career to play.
Hear ye. Everyone out there in the football world, the debate is going to end here. I'm going to give you everything you need to know, how things are going to transpire over the next 14 years. Tom Brady played 23 years, Ashley Nicole Moss. 23 years. The appearances, how many appearances? Let's double check the appearances. He's won 7 Super Bowls. Okay, so that means he's winning how many every 7 years? Tom, he's right there. Okay, when you look at the mathematics of this situation, he is on track. He's on track to potentially tie or surpass Tom Brady when it comes to Super Bowl rings. But like you guys said, we may have to wait until the end of this gentleman, the baby GOAT's career. But what we do know, through 7 years, the first 7 years of his career, statistically, is better than Tom Brady.
What does that matter?
That's the only thing we can base it off of. That's the only thing we can base it off of.
Look into a crystal ball that does it and you don't know. What if Patrick Mahomes hypothetically never wins another Super Bowl in his career? Are you guys going to Are you going to harp on the fact that he's surpassed Brady with all these records and say, oh, he's the GOAT? It doesn't matter.
It's over then. But think about this.
7 beats 2. It beats 3. It's math.
There's an argument that he's better positioned than what Tom Brady is, right? He's already off to a way better start. It's not even close. And he's physically better than him. Now, mentally, it's a different conversation. This dude, the way he thinks and his makeup is totally different. But we talked about this earlier. Josh Allen is not, he's not Ben Roethlisberger. He's not Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. He's not that. These guys. There's nobody threatening him. Maybe Joe Burrow will finally get it. Mm-hmm. Maybe Lamar Jackson may finally get it. But right now, there's nobody on his level when it comes to the mindset and the makeup. And then also having Andy Reid.
Yeah. And
you guys are premature in crowning him the GOAT. He hasn't even.
We didn't crown him.
You're premature in saying that. I mean, potentially, yes. If I could have sung and danced, I could have been Beyonce. I don't know that.
We're only going off the information we have. And all the information he gave us is what we have to go by. And right now, he's on track to surpass Tom Brady.
How are you assuming that?
Because of his wins, his numbers. him getting to the AFC Championship every year, him getting to the Super Bowl the way he's been getting to the Super Bowl.
You're predicting 5 years into the future,
that's just
6 years into the future, 10 years into the future. You don't know if this man wins another Super Bowl in his career. How are you guys making this assessment?
I thought that was your question. Didn't you ask us, does he have an opportunity?
No. What I'm saying is when you guys say he's on track, how are you coming to that conclusion? Because he's been to multiple AFC championships and Super Bowls in his career. What if he does not go to another single one?
Then he doesn't
How
have
is
a
he
chance.
on track?
Then he doesn't have a chance. Like if he doesn't, he has to win at only 4 will be tough because you have Joe Montana sitting with 4 rings. You have Terry Bradshaw sitting with 4 rings, and there may be one other quarterback with 4 other rings. He has to be at that 5 Super Bowl ring mark for him to challenge him. But that's why I said the question isn't, can he catch him and pass him? It's more so, what does he have to do to become the GOAT with only 5 rings, 4 or 5 rings?
He's already a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. That, I say, is solidified.
You mean
of all time.
No, he's top 5 all time.
I say top 10 because of depending on where you want. I'm not going to get into that argument. But regardless of whether you have him in the top 10, top 5, that is solidified. That is concrete. That is, without a doubt, already written in the history books. The rest of this is not.
This is all I have to say. We only can go by the data that's given to us, right? It's almost like buying a stock. When you was getting Apple stock way back then and you just seen everything soaring, right? You can't say, you can't think in 5 to 10 years it's going to drop. Like, nah, Apple is shooting through the roof. Patrick Mahomes is shooting through the roof. You don't see no tailing off and then it might go down and just going up. Like his stock is shooting through the roof. So that's the only data we have to go by.
You going to buy the stock?
What about people who bought GameStop stock and that was going through the roof?
Yeah, but that's not GameStop right there.
What about people who were buying Napster stock because it was going through the roof and then Napster got hit with the RICO and then it collapsed? What I'm saying is you cannot predict.
He's Apple.
I'm buying stock in him.
Okay.
He's not slowing down.
Listen, we're going to keep it moving because I feel like we can go around in circles about this forever and we don't have that much time. We're going to talk about from one quarterback who seems to have all the success to a quarterback who's not having that much success. Good news and bad news for the Cleveland Browns. Good news, they were able to go ahead and win their game against the Colts yesterday. The bad news, well, Deshaun Watson is once again hurt. Now, listen to Deshaun after the game as to why he didn't come back into the game, and then listen to what head coach Kevin Stefanski also said. A little bit of a contradicting mindset here. Take a listen.
I'm a competitor. I want to go out there and try to help the team as much as possible and go out there and play and perform and compete. But, the decision was best for, the team, and they felt that was the best. And, PJ did a great job of finishing the game, and everyone else played a heck of a job to get the win.
As you guys know, my job to make tough decisions. I just felt like I wanted to protect him. I did not want to see him get hit. He was hit hard, and I know he cleared all that, but I got to protect him.
All right, so a little bit of a different situation. We didn't play the full clip, but head coach Kevin Stefanski did say that Deshaun is expected to start for the next game, which would contradict the fact that he sustained an injury and he didn't want to make that injury worse. But it's safe to say that injury will still be prevalent when you're starting him. So there's a little bit of a contradiction in terms of, what's going on between the quarterback and his head coach. Deshaun Watson did not have a good first half. He took a pretty hard hit in the game that ultimately, had him laid out on the field for a little while. It was a scary hit. His hands were up. Looked like he was not aware of where he was at all. He is coming off of a rotator cuff issue, and now another injury is plaguing the quarterback. Listen, $230 million is a lot of cash. All right, and I think that it's safe to say, without diving into all of the extracurricular from, the outside of the sport, a lot of people were apprehensive about the Browns doing this deal. A lot of people called it a desperate deal. I was one of those people. They needed a quarterback. They knew that Deshaun Watson was a quarterback that allegedly a lot of teams were interested in. I remember the Atlanta Falcons were a team that was supposedly interested in. They wanted to go ahead and beat all the other competitive teams, all the other, bidding teams to the punch, without maybe doing enough research or you know, playing it a little bit smart, B-Flow, I mean, this is not the quarterback that they thought they were going to get.
This 100% not the quarterback they thought they was getting in Deshaun Watson. The Browns in a tough situation because
they did it to themselves, if we're going to be honest, but I digress.
I mean, I would have made that move too. Being that way.
What?
You like to get messy. You messier than
How
me.
am I? Is that messy? To say they did it to themselves?
Nah, you're right. You're right, but you have to. When you're the Browns and you want to, coming from Houston, Deshaun Watson was one of the youngest and at the time when he stopped playing, he was a top 5 quarterback, right?
Yeah. I agree.
After his playoff performance that he went ahead and made, and he was like, get him some more weapons. I mean, the Cleveland Browns had to make this decision.
Right.
But so you would have kept Baker Mayfield over Deshaun coming from Houston?
What I'm saying is that did they have to make a move for a quarterback? Yes, I agree with you completely. Did they have to make a $230 million fully guaranteed move for a quarterback? No. And you talk about what he did in Houston, I agree with you. Houston, he was phenomenal. But you also gave $230 million to a guy who hadn't seen a football field in a year.
But I don't
then
think
a year and a half, then another half a season because he was on probation or whatever it was that he was. I mean, you gave a lot of cash to someone you hadn't seen play football in a year.
I don't think it's as far-fetched as you think. Like, he was going to miss that year regardless, right? And when have you ever seen a top quarterback not finish his contract? Like a running back, DB, wide receiver,
right.
After 3-4 years, after your guarantee gone, you're gone.
Yep.
But a quarterback usually finishes out their contract. So for them, they're like, you're going to finish your contract out anyway, so why not just guarantee it and we get the guy that we want?
And then and when you get into the second half of that contract, those numbers are actually favorable because it's like a discount, right? Because the quarterback, when you see that, right, what he's averaging per year is not at the top anymore because you saw Lamar and Jalen Hurts and, you know, a couple other guys come over top, Joe Burrow. So, like, I think it was a smart play by the Cleveland Browns because I do agree with you, B, that he was a top 5 quarterback
I agree with
before
that, though.
the whole
I just said the money is the.
Yeah, but I think you have to if you're the Cleveland Browns, like. If you don't have a guy
fully guaranteed,
because you got to be desperate. Like you had to because you're the Cleveland Browns. Nobody want to come to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns offered me $3 more million when I was going from Chicago to New York to the Jets, and they were going to offer me almost $3 million more. And I looked at them and said, I'll retire before I go there. So they had to put this massive deal together because the sentiment in the NFL amongst players is like, that's where we go to die. Like, you don't want to go to the Cleveland Browns. What is there? So it made sense for Deshaun, and it made sense for the Cleveland Browns.
But like you said, you never seen this type of deal for a quarterback, right?
I mean, this is worse than Russell Wilson's deal.
We never really seen a top 5.
No shade, Russ.
We never seen a top 5 quarterback not finish his deal. So what's the difference between you just guaranteeing it to him and he just finishing his deal?
Let's not pretend that this is just any other situation, that they gave $230 million to a top quarterback, you know, that sat out the last year. Like, let's not play that game because we know there's a lot other things that had went into the situation that made it asinine. What I'm simply saying is that we're just going to talk about football. I'm not saying you don't go after Deshaun Watson. He's a phenomenal talent. And we saw that when he was in Houston. We saw that when he was in Clemson. I'm saying that type of a contract, fully guaranteed, it's not even a backloaded contract. It's not even a contract where he gets most of that after his first year in Cleveland, and you see what kind of quarterback you actually have after a year removed from the game. But he gave that up front. Not knowing what version of Deshaun Watson you were going to get. The man hadn't seen a football field in a year. And then had a suspension he had to deal with.
When you're the Cleveland Browns and you're in a desperate position, I mean, you just have to be aggressive. When you're bidding on a house or bidding on a property, somebody can say, hey, I'm offering you $5 million for this building, right? You come and say, I'll give you $6 million cash right now. Let's do it. I mean, you have to just make sure your offer is better than anybody else's because Deshaun wouldn't even want to go to Cleveland.
You don't even know what Atlanta was offering him. I can guarantee you it wasn't $230 million fully guaranteed.
Yeah, but that's why they had to make that move.
Because you realistically think that they were going to offer him a fully guaranteed contract.
No. It's what you're saying. It's like if you have the Atlanta Falcons out there, that he had a market. There was more than the Cleveland Browns out there. So nobody wants to go to Cleveland. So that's why they had to do that deal, is because they had to beat out the Atlanta Falcons. They had to beat out the Miami Dolphins, right? There was a few teams bidding on Deshaun. And so the Cleveland Browns had to go do that. But going back to this thing, right, really quick, I want to say, like, the coach made the right decision to protect him, right? Because this is a bigger conversation that we're having right now. I do think that Kevin Stefanski made the best decision to pull him out the game, because when you look at the standings in the AFC or even in their division, they're sitting here. You got the Baltimore Ravens at 5-2. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-2, and they're at 4-2, right? So you're thinking about the future. Like, P.J. Walker is not the guy that's going to help you get into the playoffs and overcome all the stuff that we're talking about. So pulling him out, saying, you know what, this is a long season. We're still in position. This was best for you and the ball club, was the right decision. Now, when this came up, Ashley, and I think this may be why you push us here, it's like, okay, well, is there something else there? Like, you know, is there something that we're not seeing? Are they starting to give up on Deshaun a little bit? Right? Like, I'm like, why is this such a...
No, I don't think that's the case. I think that it's just, we're talking about a quarterback who, again, I keep going back to the fact, hadn't played the game of football in a year and then had an additional amount of time tacked onto that because he had to deal with his suspension when he got to Cleveland. You play half a season, if that. It's not time to get acclimated. Now when you see a quarterback post,
I got the best
when
example.
you see a quarterback post rookie, when you see a quarterback fresh out of college, I feel like that's probably the most explosive version of them until the NFL and the other teams within the league start figuring out who this quarterback is, and then you see them start to mature, then you see their game start to change. But when they first get into the league, that's the honeymoon phase. That's where that quarterback is here. It's like a version of them in college on steroids, Madden version. Like that's for the most part. We've seen some busts. But when you're a top quarterback, that's the honeymoon phase. Mm-hmm. They never actually saw him start to grow into the quarterback that he was going to be post those years because there was a big chunk of time missing. All I'm saying is, yes, you go after a quarterback like Deshaun Watson based on what he had done. But you also ran the risk of that may not be the version that he is anymore. But that's what I'm saying. So, like, that's why that money was asinine, because you're putting stock into what he was when that may not be who he is anymore. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So consider the Cleveland Browns a guy that's not so attractive but just came into a lot of money. All right? What?
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait to see where you go.
You're not attractive.
I'm giving you a chance,
Some would
bro.
say, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like a 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. You're not handsome, but you just sold your company for $500 million, right? Mm-hmm. So now you have all of these resources, okay? And now you're in this category where there's other men that may look better than you, have a couple extra dollars than you, et cetera, et cetera. But then there's this lady who has a past, like a Amber Rose, been around a little bit. You're desperate. You're desperate. Follow me, Ashley, follow me.
Why did Amber Rose catch a stray? What's going on here?
Because it's like, there's some things that, sometimes you're like, that history is just too much history for me. Mm-hmm. But you're not that attractive. So you got to do more than everybody else. You might have to buy the Birkin bag. You might have to buy the Rolls Royce. You might have to pay the bills to get the shot at the Amber Rose. You feeling what I'm saying?
Is Deshaun Watson Amber Rose?
No, the Cleveland Browns.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this to get it, bro. I'm trying to figure it out. I gotta rewatch it.
The Cleveland Browns is the ugly person.
But so that would make Deshaun Watson Amber Rose.
There you go. So you have to. How do you attract that Amber Rose? How do you attract that woman that you want? You got to do a little bit more.
Yeah, you got to give her what she wants.
You got to give her what she wants. So Deshaun Watson was sitting there as Amber Rose saying, like, I know I got a little history.
I see where you went with it. Okay, I didn't even have to. I see where he went with it.
Ashley, follow me. Ashley, come on now. Like, there's some dudes, like some people say that Jay-Z outkicked his cover. How did he get Beyonce with the big lip? How he got her? Some people said,
I was cool with this, man. I'm gonna let you know I wasn't in on that message. But
wait, come on, that wasn't a conversation though. Was that not a conversation?
No, I feel you with the scenario that you just gave, right?
Yo, wow.
I feel you on the scenario that you just made with the Deshaun Watson with the pass, and you wondering like, yo, let me see who out there checking for me, and it's somebody that's gonna spoil you. Everybody he's just gonna lay it out for you.
Would you say that when the Browns again, I'm not arguing that you go after Deshaun Watson. What I'm talking about is the money, the contract. Would you say that Deshaun Watson, when the Browns gave him that contract, was a top 5 quarterback?
Yes. Yes, because the last thing I seen Deshaun Watson do.
You would say he was a top 5 quarterback?
Yes, because the last time he was on the field was when he was making plays in the playoffs, when they were supposed to beat Kansas City in the playoffs, until the defense just gave up 21 points in a quarter. Like, that was the Deshaun Watson, like, I remember seeing. And quarterbacks usually don't fall off after a year.
Peyton Manning took off a year, and then he came back and still won the Super Bowl.
Tom Brady got hurt first game of the season when we played him my rookie year. And he came back and kept winning Super Bowls after that. So with quarterbacks in their history, usually they play as well as they did previously. So.
All right, we can agree to disagree on this.
Amber Rose.
I don't know.
Go, Ashley.
I don't know. Listen.
He said the PJ. The Hermes. Go the Chanel bags.
I can't. I just don't. Listen. Moving on. In case you did not catch the announcement earlier in the show, tomorrow you don't want to miss it because we have Travis Kelce in the building. Yeah, that guy right behind me. Wait. Hold on. There he goes. Hey, Trav. He's going to be.
That's what you're going to say when he comes on. Hey, Trav. That's what you're going to say.
No, I'm not. Okay, I'm not going to do that. You bring Idris Elba on the show, that you might get that version out of me. Hey, Idris. No. Yeah, Travis Kelce is going to be joining the show, so you do not want to miss it. B-Flow's got some hilarious stories he's saving for tomorrow. We're going to ask him all questions from his podcast to the Kansas City Chiefs, and maybe, throw in a couple of, I don't know. He's been in the news lately for some reasons. I don't know. I'm not quite sure why. Outside of being a Hall of Famer, not quite sure why he's been in the news. But we'll dive into all of that. You don't want to miss it again tomorrow, Tuesday. Paper out. Be there. All right. Moving on. Monday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Niners facing the Minnesota Vikings. The banged-up 49ers will actually travel to Minnesota, so this is a away game for them. Luckily, they play indoors, but I don't think Minnesota's cold right now. Is it?
What is it, October?
It's October.
It might be.
It's global warming.
I'm from Florida, so
it's good. It's good football weather.
It's global warming. Like, it's still like
it was
spring.
Nice in Philly last night.
I know it was nice in New York this weekend, so I don't think the weather is going to be a factor right now because some of us aren't taking global warming serious. That's a whole nother show.
You're not taking global warming serious.
I know you're like you're a green thumb person. But go ahead. Why you don't think I'm taking it serious?
Because I don't think you take it seriously.
I am. That's something you don't know about me.
Really? How do you take global warming seriously? Go.
So in our facility, like, there's been a big initiative on, plastic, our carbon footprint. So some of the things that we're learning is teaching our people how not to just keep buying plastic, but bring your reusable bottles. And we have those stations in the facility. So right now it's a lot about plastic. I think there needs to be a huge investment in solar panels and not, the traditional approach. So, I would say it's been a couple years, but we've really been looking at this.
You're saving the world, bro.
What about you, B-Flow? How are you saving the world?
I don't litter. So
you don't
that's
litter?
all I got going.
That's good for you. Good for you.
Be holding both of us down on that.
Well, listen, back to football. We're gonna start with Brandon Marshall here because when Nagin was going around and taking our predictions, Brandon kinda chose the Vikings. Not quite sure if he did. He kind of rode the fence. He said he takes them to cover, but
yeah, what does that even mean?
What does that even mean, Brandon?
What's the spread? Do we know the spread?
I'll go ahead and look it up for you. Go ahead and talk to me why you do that.
Listen, we know what the Vikings are and where they're at. They're not a really good football team, and they're actually worse off because they don't have Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson makes up damn near half of their offense, right? But sometimes when you lose, a receiver like that alpha, it makes things better. right? Because there's less pressure on the play caller, there's less pressure on the quarterback to get that guy the ball. So what happens is you see a more efficient offense, i.e., Eddie Royal, your brother, right? Y'all both played at VTech. Y'all still like this to this day. Eddie Royal comes in as a rookie. I'm suspended that first year. This is 2009, I believe it is. We go and play opening night, Monday Night Football, and our offense goes out there and put up 40-something points. Why? Because Jay Cutler, Kyle Shanahan didn't have to. I think this is a part of it. I'm going to say this is the only reason. Eddie ball, but they were able to just run through the offense. When I was there, they know, like, damn, okay, we got to get Brandon the ball early. We make sure he get his touches, da-da-da-da. And so sometimes you force it as a play caller and a quarterback. So I say all that to say this. Look, what's the spread? Do you have the spread?
Right now, the spread is the 49ers are favorited, -6.5.
So 6.5. I was expecting 10. If it was 10, I was going to say they're going to cover. And I'm still going to pick them to cover. Look at how they showed up last week. You said it. They're banged up. And then you're traveling. So I think that the Vikings will cover. Because when you start getting to 6.5, 7, pushing up to 10 points, that's a blowout. Most games in the NFL, I would say 85% of the games in the NFL are decided by 3 points.
B, when you said you like the Vikings to cover, I thought you was crazy, right? But you have a point. The Vikings, their record doesn't say they're good. But if you look at their schedule, right? The Bucs beat them by 1 possession. Eagles beat them by 1 possession. Chargers beat them by 1 possession. The Chiefs beat them by only 7. So all the games came down to 1 possession at the end of the day. The 49ers, last time they played, they got a sour taste in their mouth. They don't have Deep. Is Debo playing, or is he gonna miss this game?
I'm not sure.
I know they're banged up.
That will come out. Well, that should be coming out any minute now.
Yeah, but he's banged up. Even if he does play, he's banged up. Brock Purdy didn't have the best outing his last time out. So will the 49ers start off slow? And that's all Minnesota need to get over that hump. So initially I thought it was no way, looking at the records, that the Vikings will have a chance, but you might be on to something when you say they might cover. But at the end of the day, I still got the 49ers.
Christian McCaffrey is listed as questionable, and Deebo Samuel will not play.
It's a big deal.
That is a very big deal.
That's their offense right there. That's their offense. But you know what's special about this game too is, all right, Brock Purdy. I'm riding with Brock Purdy.
Me too. I love Brock Purdy.
You want to stand on the table again?
No. I ain't going to do that. Let's ride. Brock Purdy is him. But here's where you can shut up your doubters. Because there's a lot of people out there saying that you're not him. Look at the system you're in and all the players. So now, if I'm Brock Purdy, it's like, damn, thank you. No Debo, no Christian McCaffrey possibly. I'm still going to go out there and win. I'm going to do it convincingly, and then I'm going to shut y'all up, right? So, you know, that there's some stories that we need to be following here watching this game. But I think it's going to be a good game for sure.
Last point on this, is this a must-win for the 49ers after the Eagles went ahead and handled business in Sunday Night Football? They've been vying back and forth for the best team in the NFC.
I think it's a must-win, and here's why. Because the 49ers had a favorable schedule all year. They haven't really beat a team that we say, are a contender. Their last outing wasn't good. This is prime time. Like, it's different when you play at 1 o'clock and you might not get a win. But when you play in prime time and all eyes are on you, now all the questions go come. Is Brock Purdy a fluke if you don't have a good outing? Wow.
Is he a system quarterback?
Yeah, is he a system quarterback? Is this defense as good as we thought they were? Like, this is not a complete team. Like, so to not have all these questions come up and put all that noise in the locker room, this is definitely a must-win for 49ers.
It's a must-win because, like, you know, their responsibility is different than everyone else's. You know, when you're at the top of the top, like, you know, it comes down to, you know, 1 or 2 games, home field advantage, right? So, yes, because what they're playing for is totally different than everybody else. They're playing for the Super Bowl. A lot of these teams are playing just to get in and get an opportunity. They know they can get in. They've been there before. Now, can Kyle Shanahan finally get over the hump, right? Can John Elway finally get over the hump as a general manager, calling the shots there? And so, like, yes, they need to go win because when you look up come week 15, week 16, 17, and there's so many playoff implications on the line, and then you're going to look back like, damn, we let that slide against the Vikings? Like, that was the game we were supposed to win. You got to find a way tonight.
Well, listen, guys. Monday Night Football will be diving into that tomorrow. And like I said, do not miss tomorrow because Travis Kelce is going to be in the building. But before we go, we want to go ahead and shout out a project that Brandon just did with Alden Smith, an exclusive interview that will actually air right after today's show. Brandon, quickly, what can we expect from this sit-down?
I think Alden came to talk about the last 7 months he's been in jail, right? And if you know the story of Alden Smith, through the first 3 to 4 years, he was on pace to be like the best defensive lineman ever. And then he started bumping his head off the field, right? Like there's so many things. Like it's like every other week, it was like he's dealing with this, he's dealing with that. And so we didn't hear from him. Then he made a legendary comeback where he was off for a while and then ended up coming back, the Seattle Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys. And he started dealing with some substance abuse challenges, and then he was gone again, right? And over the last 7 months, he's been locked up, and then he got out and he, hit us up like, yo, I'm ready for that sit down. For me, it was special because I go back and I got text messages and DMs where it's like 2013, 2014. Yo, bro, come check in with me. Let's talk about this mental health stuff. Let's connect. And we would connect, but he would never fully go there. And so this was special because I was able to sit down and we were able to talk. And when you are in this situation, you're trying to control your narrative. You're trying to show people that, listen, this doesn't make me. This doesn't make me. Like there's so much more to who I am in my story. But all you know is the bad stuff. It's playing out on ESPN. It's playing out on YouTube. So I think that this right here was real because it was a breakthrough moment for him where it's like, yo, fucking let the curation go, and like it's okay. And like, there's a powerful moment where he actually walks off because he needed a moment, and he came back, and then we got into the real show, right? It took us 30 minutes of us going back and forth. I asked him the question, and this is the last thing I'll say. I asked him, as soon as I opened up, I said, welcome. I said, welcome home. And I gave him the opportunity to talk about where he was, but he was eluding, that whole conversation. And it wasn't until after he walked off and then came back to where I was like, welcome home. And we were able to dive in. I've been locked up for 7 months, and here's what I learned, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it was healing for him. It was healing for me. And people who watch this will probably take something away from it. So, I appreciated the conversation.
Well, let's go ahead and play a clip and check it out.
I need a second, bro.
That's cool.
Yeah, I just need a second.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I don't feel like I'm doing good. I'm in my fucking head, bro. I'm in my fucking head. I'm fucking nervous.
I know. You know why you're nervous? Because you've never been vulnerable before.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I got so much shit to say, and I feel like I'm running out of time.
You just gotta say it, bro.
This right here, this is the shit. This is the space that we're creating. It's a breakthrough for him.
You guys definitely don't want to miss that. It's premiering right after Paper Route ends. We got 3 minutes left, and just want to remind you that tomorrow Travis Kelce will be in the building. Should we have Brandon sing?
I think you should. He probably ain't see the Taylor performance, bro. So I think you should
with
even
the lights
start out.
And
yeah, with the
you
lights.
Get a better
Let it all
stroke.
go.
You know what I mean?
Got a smoke going.
Yeah,
Dang, that's...
wave our lighters in the air, like.
I'm with it.
I'm with it. Get you some friendship bracelets, you know?
We can ask him the question, you outkicked your coverage. What did you
Did
he? She 150,
but
200 million followers. You say she's just about to, she infused $1 billion into the economy with her tour.
He has a successful podcast. He's been at Vanity Fair. He's on Saturday. I mean, I feel like it's...
Whose career would you pick? Travis Kelce's or Taylor Swift's?
I've always wanted to be a Hall of Fame tight end, so probably Travis Kelce. In my head, I've always wanted to be a Hall of Fame football player.
Let's do this. We only have a few minutes left. Everybody's in the chat. What questions should we ask Travis?
Not the answer you expected, huh?
What do you guys want to hear? What should Ashley ask? What should B Flowers ask? What should I ask? What questions should we ask? Jump in the chat and let us know.
Hall of Fame quarterback. I take that career too.
B played with him.
Yeah.
Is he the GOAT?
Is he what we see? Like, you know how some people are different in front of the cameras? Is he who he is all the time?
Nah, he that 100%. Even my rookie year, like, I want to save it for the show. I'm gonna
Okay,
save
save it.
I'm
Christy O said you should show him your nipple.
He would like that.
Wait, I missed that
Travis
part. I just
Kelce.
heard nipple. I was like, what's going on? And you looked at me and was like, he'll like that. I was like, what?
He should show Travis Kelce his nipple, and he goes, he would like that.
Well, because he's a jokester, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? We can move on.
Well, if you guys have been listening on Sirius XM Faction Talk 103, thank you so much. And if you want to see all the craziness or Brandon's nipple, make sure you head over to the I Am Athlete YouTube page and check it out.
The smallest nipple in the world.
We'll be back tomorrow,
I'm so
guys.
uncomfortable right now.
Oh my God. Bye. Bye.